Should you do no contact with your ex or not? Now, one of the more controversial opinions that I think I have when it comes to this whole, getting back together with your ex, save your relationship kind of community here, is that I'm not necessarily this sort of staunch believer in the no contact rule. I know there are a lot of coaches out there who say, hey, just put 100% of your trust in no contact. It always works all the time. Just have faith in it, right? But I don't believe that that's true. I've talked to so many people over the years who have done no contact, and they've said, hey, I've been doing no contact. I'm waiting for him or her to call me. They're not doing it. What else can I do? I don't want that to necessarily end up being you. So we're going to be talking about when it makes sense to do no contact, and more importantly, when it makes sense to not do no contact in this video. Hey there, it's Clay. So you've probably heard this before. Just do no contact. It works 100% of the time, all of the time. And if it doesn't work, then just add on a heartfelt handwritten letter and mail it to them, and then that'll definitely get them back, right? It seems so simple that maybe people buy into it because of the simplicity. They just want it to be that easy. But I think, as you know, just by probably being alive and having a few brain cells to rub together, life isn't necessarily that simple. There's a lot more nuance and a lot more things to consider when it comes to saving a relationship. Now, when it comes to when it makes sense to not do the no contact rule, we want to start to think about, where are things right now between you and your ex? Are the two of you connecting? Are the two of you talking? Are the two of you getting closer emotionally? Or is the fact that the two of you are in communication with one another actually causing more challenge because the two of you might be fighting or arguing, or there could be hurt feelings, or you could be, crying tears of pain and agony after each meetup, or maybe they are, I don't know. Obviously, we want to start to look at what's happening in the dynamic between the two of you. If the two of you being in contact with one another is doing more harm than good, then obviously something isn't working, and it makes sense to take a step back and to take a little bit of a time out and do some things to make sure that we're not just going to continue to perpetuate this cycle here. Also, if you are just not in a great emotional place to be in contact with your ex, I wouldn't recommend that you do that either. Like, if it's very emotionally distressing for you, or you're having a very hard time with everything as you're in contact with them, then probably it's not going to do you much good either. Like, of course, you are a very important component in this whole relationship process. And if you're not doing well, if you are not in a great place mentally, emotionally, etc., then it makes sense to take care of you and to do what we need to do to make sure that you are having a great experience and able to bring the best of yourself to these interactions as well too. Now, before we go on, if you do like these videos that I do, it'd help me out a lot if you'd hit the thumbs up button for this video. And if you haven't already, please make sure you also subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell as well too. These things will help make sure that you're in the loop when we upload new content, but they'll also be a free way to support this channel as well too. It's kind of a really simple free way to say, hey, Clay, thanks. I'm gonna help help your channel grow. So I'm just going to click all these buttons and things like that, and it's a totally free way. So I would greatly appreciate it if you do get value from these videos. But as long as the two of you are connecting well, then maybe it doesn't actually make sense to do no contact. Obviously, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So if the two of you are connecting well, if the two of you are getting closer emotionally, if the two of you are able to do all of these things and stay, emotionally grounded and centered and all of that, it can definitely make sense to stay in contact with your ex. Going into no contact, it can form a sort of setback in terms of the emotional connection. People often say, you have to do no contact because it gives you your power back, as if love is just about power, and, they have all the power and you have no power, and you need to, knock them off of their pedestal and exalt yourself so that they can, look up to you and worship at your feet or something. And, let's be honest, power is something that some people might be interested in, but is attaining power and getting power and all of that, is that going to lead to a strong, successful relationship? Probably not. Like, if you're too busy saying, like, how much power do I have? How much power do you have? Is it over 9,000? Is that going to be something that's going to set you and your partner up to be on the same team or on opposite teams? That's the real question here. And usually when you're too busy wondering who has the power, do I have enough power, do they have too much power, you're busy seeing each other as being on opposite teams, which is going to create more challenge, more difficulty, more frustration in the long run. What we actually want to do is to recognize that for most people out there, unless you're just, some sort of megalomaniac, power hungry, whatever, playing the power game isn't going to be very helpful. So don't think that you need to do no contact just to gain power. But what we want to do is we want to instead focus in on what I personally believe is much more important than power or any of these mind games or things like that people seem to be focusing on these days. And that is, where's the emotional connection at? If you're connecting well, there's no need to do no contact. If you're able to bring the best of yourself to your interactions, and you're not in damage control mode or something like that, then there's no need to do no contact. Oftentimes, we can avoid no contact entirely by focusing in on the emotional connection and saying, what is it that's going to most benefit the emotional connection right now? And chances are it's not no contact, because when you go no contact, if you're connecting well and you go no contact, there's going to be this period of time where you're not talking. And then when you come out of it, there's going to be this sort of awkward period where you have to reacquaint yourself to one another, catch up and all of that. And so oftentimes there's this actual downshift in the emotional connection. And so that may not necessarily be the right thing for you if you're able to have a halfway decent emotional connection with your ex right now. Of course, if there is something wrong, if the two of you are just not connecting, if you're not in a great place yourself, if there's a lot of fighting, conflict, etc., sure, of course, no contact can make a lot of sense. But when we are in no contact, we don't just want to sit back and relax and hope that the magic of time heals everything. It's another little fortune cookie thing that people say, time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. You have to be able to appropriately deal with things if you're going to, leverage time to your advantage. You can't just say, okay, time is going to heal all wounds. Let's just take this literally. Will time literally heal all wounds? Okay, let's say, you have a massive injury and you're gushing blood everywhere. Are you just going to sit around and just be like, okay, time is going to heal all? No, you're going to go to the hospital. You're going to get stitched up. You're going to maybe get a cast on or whatever. I don't know. And then you can let time do its magic, but you have to put in the appropriate work towards healing. It's not just, okay, I'm just going to let time do its own thing here. We want to set ourselves up for success by actively working through our emotions, by actively doing things to improve our ability to connect and bond with our partner, by actively doing things to bring the best of ourselves to the interactions. And that's where active no contact comes into play. That's sort of a term that I've coined I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago at this point. And it's really for you to create more of an active role in no contact if you decide to do no contact, if it makes sense for you. Because we don't just want to take on this passive role of just, okay, it's like somehow me ignoring my ex for a month is gonna make everything better, even though maybe that's why my relationship is having a hard time in the first place, is because I ignored them, or I ignored the relationship, or I didn't address things or whatever. Somehow continuing to do that is going to make things right? Probably not. Anyway, the whole point of this is no contact isn't some sort of miracle cure-all. What is going to actually get you back together is focusing in on the emotional connection. You have to understand it. You have to know how to read it, and you have to do what you need to do to improve the emotional connection. But you need to start by learning how to see it, by learning how to focus on it, and by learning how to treat it appropriately. And that's really what the X Solution program is all about. It's our flagship course on helping you save your relationship. And you can find out more about it over at MODERNLOVE.LIFE/ESP. If it makes sense, we'd love to have you inside the course. If it's not right for you, that's totally okay. I still think that you should probably focus in on the emotional connection, but I get it. It's not right for everyone, depending on where you're at in your life and depending on what's going on in your situation and all that. Check it out. And if it does seem like the right thing for you, I'd love to have you inside. Anyway, thanks so much. You've made it to the end of the video. If you have made it to the end of the video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button for yourself, and please make sure you drop a comment down below letting me know that you made it to the end. Thanks so much. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.